Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on an episode here at Fast Break on IE Sports Radio, I want to talk to y'all about the last eight years for the company. For the last 8 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports series around the country. All the while, we've been continuing to be by the fans for the fans, and with your help, we're ready to take that next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see 5 different Patreon links. The first tier will start at $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 32 of our shows. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on our segment flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed with all that sports. I want to shout out to our 4 Patreon members, Bay Area Rays, Marcus, Los Great, Key to the Gate, and Anonymous. Thank you for making 8 years of IE Sports Radio special, and here's more many years to come. Now to the show. On tonight's show, Chris Beard has been let go by University of Texas after quote-unquote allegations of domestic abuse. We'll discuss that and what that means for the future of the University of Texas. Plus, the LA Lakers won 5 straight after beating the Sacramento Kings last night. Can they continue this effort with many teams in the West missing star players, including their own? Plus, we'll go over scores and news around the NBA and college basketball, including Alabama beating Kentucky, Iowa State winning 5 straight, and men's basketball. We'll discuss that much more here on Fast Break Live on IE Sports Radio. You're the read for all that is sports, and you're welcome to join us. Join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Lots to get into, lots to talk about. The NFL season winding down and whatnot. If your team's in the playoffs, congratulations. If not, hey, the draft is right around the corner. So, with that being said, football's dead, just about. And Rodney Harrison jumping in the crowd at Lambeau, and somebody broke his butt, but we're just going to ignore that. But D-Lock, how you do tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Glad to be back. Rough day for both of our teams. Definitely had to take an L today, but basketball is going pretty well, man. My Orlando Magic starting to look pretty good. Paolo Banchero and then Benedict Mathurin are headlines for the Rookie of the Year, so things are looking pretty up right now for my Orlando Magic.
Yeah, everything's pretty good. Everything's looking fine. But let's go and hop into this. If you want Chris Beard, a guy that's kind of rising in a race of college basketball coaches, it ain't so good for you right now. Chris Beard fired from the University of Texas 3 days ago with cause on a deal that was 7 years worth $35 million through 2028. So this dude is not going to get paid. One of the best jobs in America, a fired head coach, because you can get paid just to chill at home, or you can take another job and kind of maximize your earning potential. But Chris Beard's gone from Texas. He just got the job when he left from there, from Texas Tech. You figured that, you know, he'd be a good person to have in the fold when your school transits to the SEC, and then you have this guy who's still kind of young. Good at a good age to kind of grow with a program, transfer to the SEC and stuff like that, and then kind of stay within the SEC for a while. To challenge the likes of Cal, Nate Oates, Bruce Pearl, Dennis Gates at Mizzou, who's doing a hell of a job there. All that stuff. D-Lock, your quick thoughts when he got fired. And I know you're a person that was a student athlete and now is a coach of student athletes. What are your thoughts of him getting let go like this in your eyes?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a big deal. Knowing that he just got to Texas, from Texas Tech, took them to the tournament last year. Looking like they finished had a pretty good record last year or under him. This year looked like they were going on, definitely looking pretty good moving into this season. And now all of a sudden, the guy that's leading these men has been let go. For me, now you go to practice. Now, granted, I feel like a lot of these, it's official to us recently, but at practice around the Texas community, I'm pretty sure that was something that probably was being talked about after being suspended for a certain amount of time. As an athlete, now you are, in a sense, trying to figure out what is next. Now, like I said, like when I was in school, going to University of Tennessee, going to Florida State, we didn't have a transfer portal. If you transferred, you had to go get permission. And even if you got permission, they were only saying what schools that you can go to. You can talk to, if you were to go to any other schools, you had to stay out a year, stuff like that. That's not how it is nowadays. These kids can basically get in a transfer portal and go anywhere, especially with these NIL deals. So I think that's going to play a huge part with a lot of these kids, especially those that are from different areas that's not Texas. But that's a big shock. They have the intern coach already. He'll finish out the season. So I think what he does will play a huge part in their decisions, and also who they bring in the following year. I think that's going to play a very huge part. So for me, like I said, I think that for one, letting him go was knowing what came out with the domestic violence and stuff like that. I think he had messaged me about it first. I'm pretty sure that raised a bunch of eyebrows at a school like the University of Texas. That's definitely a situation that not many want to have. Not many universities want to have their head coach have on his resume. So I'm not sure if many people see, but I believe the bowl game that University of Texas played right before they got out there, Steve Carseason was literally yelling at the guy that had his hands on him.
Yeah,
so that doesn't play a part. It doesn't help anything. Is what I'm trying to say. So when you see that, now you got a head coach at Texas in football that's literally yelling at the guy. Then you got your basketball coach who has some off the court issues as well. Like this is the type of stuff that you don't really want at the university, to be honest. You're looking at it as an athletic director, like what the hell is going on?
Oh, I'll get to him in a second. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and then you got the alumni. I'm pretty sure, definitely, have a lot of questions. So this firing is not too much of a big surprise. And also, look who we're talking about. We're talking about the University of Texas. Damn near any sport, they can get anybody that they want. You know, I know many people don't know, but hell, the guy they got for track and field that I know is man, Coach Flo, as we call him, Florian Griffin. He's like one of the Flo Real. He's like one of the better coaches out there. So he's at Texas. So I say that to say that Texas has that money, has the support to get they can replace anybody that they fire. So this firing was something that definitely is not shocking. There are already some names they're trying to tag to Texas, but now, like I said, as an athlete, you're kind of stuck. You want to figure out what's going to happen. It kind of throws a little bit of a wrench into your plans for the rest of the season. Now, like I said, I think that for one, he's been gone for some time. I believe he was suspended for about a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, almost less than a month. So Rodney Terry has taken over and has been the coach ever since. So you got your associate, you got the head coach there now, and he's taken over. So you would be comfortable with him, but for some of those guys that Chris Beard recruited or got there, and they see that plan, they're gonna have questions. But like I said, this season is going to determine a lot, and I think this team, I think they'll be pretty good moving forward. But this is going to be something that's going to be talked about for the rest of the season.
First, for me, shout out to Terry Rodriguez in the chat. He has why did Texas wait for someone to fire him? I guess to clear everything through, because initially, when the arrest happened and what came out, as been reported that him and the fiance were having an argument. And then she struck him first, and then next thing you know, it's kind of like similar to what Dana White going through right now, the president of UFC. His wife struck him, and next thing you know, he slapped her around a couple times, and then he slapped her down to the ground and stuff like that. On a side note, ESPN ain't crap for trying to protect that dude. I'm just going to say that right now. But anyways, yeah, Terrence, they had to wait till everything clears through. It didn't help that his lawyer spoke for the victim, saying that, she don't want to press charges and stuff like that. That wasn't a good look a couple of days after the incident. Why are you speaking for that victim of this abuse? So that wasn't a good look at all. From the jump. Chris Beard been in that job for a couple of years. Like I alluded to in our monologue. Dude's 49 years old. You're about to go to the SEC. A guy that could be at the job for at least another decade at the most. And then he's going to just flush it down the toilet. Now, it must have been bad enough from what the university gathered and all that stuff to let him go with cause. And they figure they can get somebody else in there. Now, Rodney Terry in the fold, Texas, they still doing their thing. He's doing still a good job. They won against Oklahoma State this past Saturday. So we'll see how this rest of the season plays out. And maybe, if he does a good enough job, then he can stay in the fold. I hope so. But with Texas, it's one of those real funny style places that, like to do their own thing. And the folks the outside folks like to do their own thing, and sometimes they ain't the best for everybody involved. And the culture down there is not the best. Let's be real about that. Like you alluded to about the Steve Sarkisian thing. Well, I guess like the production assistant was kind of like holding the Texas player back, and then he just like snapped and went off on the guy. A lot of people, and that's been viewed on Twitter like over 1 million times or so. And not a good look for the university right there. And not a good look because of Stark's issues in the past. You know? That ain't a good look. Him snapping off like that, you know? It's just like a culture down there that's not built up right, not, you know, it's just kind of like lawless in a sense. And, you know, where they go from here as a university, I don't know. The Texas athletic director, let me pull that up. Chris Del Conte. This is the dude who, when he got the job, has kind of been real grimy in the sense how he go about things. And I know you mentioned about the athletic director and stuff like that, but it's like this dude, the folks he hired, I saw a video before we got on air, like the softball coach, he was acting a fool, you know, in their matchup and stuff. It's just like Beard had to go. That's fine. But I think this athletic director, Chris Del Conte, even if I'm University of Texas boards and stuff like that, he probably would have to go too. Because there's too many, you know, bad hires, too many outside things that keep happening around his watch, too many things that, you know, we got to answer for and all that stuff. Like the University of Texas needs like a good, clean image for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you there. There's a lot of it's been it's been like that for a while at Texas, and not only in basketball but in other sports. So, but the question is, who do they go after? You know, I think Rodney Terry is going to be one of the guys that is considered big time. But like I said, I definitely see Texas going after a big name, you know, if they keep him.
And I see some people bring up John Coward's name up. I said, you don't leave Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I talked about this last week on our show. Kentucky's one of those jobs that if you don't perform well, they'll get you out the paint before it gets bad. You know? They'll get you out the paint before it gets bad. Like Alabama football, Kentucky basketball, North Carolina basketball, Kansas basketball, UCLA basketball, Texas football. Who else I could throw in there? Notre Dame football. I could be missing somebody here. Oh, Michigan, Ohio State. Yeah, those schools, if things start to get bad, look to get bad, they'll get rid of the coach in a heartbeat. And with Cal and the way Kentucky's going right now, this year, they got the ass handed to them by Alabama this past Saturday. You know, the fan base kind of getting restless. You know, they calling to Cal's record. You know, and times and championships, despite all the the first round picks he sends in the NBA. that, well, what all those NBA players had to show for at Kentucky, just one championship. And, after a while, when that noise kind of starts getting louder and louder, then people sound like, maybe this dude ain't the guy. Maybe we gotta go another direction. So, Cal had been to the Final Four since 2015. Losing to St. Peter's last year really is not helping it. Did not help his case. Losing big to Alabama did not help his case. Now, the only reason I think Cal or Kentucky officials won't get rid of Cal because he probably potentially have the top recruiting class coming in for next year. So, if that's the case, then he may stick around. Now, if they do get rid of him, could he take that potential recruiting class down to Texas? That's a thing that to kind of watch out for.
Oh yeah, and I think that it'll be. I think Texas will throw everything to get Calipari, and he's going to bring the guys with him. But to leave Kentucky would be, I think, one of the biggest shockers. I think it'll be a lot to get him to leave, especially him having, in the past historically he's had NBA opportunities as well, and he hasn't taken any of those. So I think that this may be another chance, yes, but I don't know if he leaves Kentucky, man. It's definitely possible, but that'd be something new to see.
I mean, Cal's not the only name I could really think of right now. I really can't. There's no really no top assistant out there that Texas would go for, especially going to the SEC. Maybe Eric Musselman, potentially. That's one the person I could really think of. Maybe somebody from the NBA ranks. But other than that, I really can't think of anybody else that Texas will go after. And we'll see if they stick with the intern coach, but time will tell. If you're in line of work in your years being around NCAA, before we go to another subject, is Chris Beard done in coaching in the NCAA? Because what we've seen for the past couple of years, like y'all know I'm a big wrestling guy. We seen what happened with Vince McMahon coming back to the fold in WWE just a couple of days ago. Like he really just barged his way back in, despite the allegations and stuff like that, and paying off all that stuff. Well, Chris Beard in his situation, could he find a way back on the sideline again in college basketball?
I can actually see that. I don't think that this is his last go around. I think he'll be back on the sideline somewhere. I mean, the fact is, leaving Texas, where they were going, like I said, I think the biggest thing I've learned as far as NCAA, it is about who you know and what you've done for me lately type stuff. And he's been coaching pretty well. And also, as sad as it is, a lot of times when it comes to some of these coaches in these universities, the off the court and off the field stuff is not as important. And there's some universities that kind of push that stuff to the side, and we've seen it historically. So, now, granted, Texas is making this big push, letting them know, hey, it is important. But you got some universities that are not too high on those off the field issues. So for me, I don't think this is the last time. Now, granted, I don't think his next job is a big D1, Division I school. I think he goes to a smaller school for maybe a year or 2 or 3 years, and then he comes back to a bigger university. But the thing with basketball compared to football, as we know, is that NCAA tournament. We see schools all around the country that get in the tournament. You know, it's not like we see in the college football playoffs where it's the top of the top that just gets in and have an opportunity to win a championship. We've seen the George Masons. We've seen other schools get a chance to win a title. And depending on how their year go, they can make a huge run later on. So I think that Chris Beard could be at one of these schools. So for me, I don't think this is last time. Now, if it is, I think it's his choice. I don't think that not every university is going to shoot him down. I'm pretty sure you got some university that's definitely intrigued already. Like, damn, like that's all he did. As bad as it may sound, but you have some universities that are still interested. So I definitely don't think this is his last year. I think we're going to see him for many more years, especially as young as he is.
Yeah, well, there's something I guess we'll keep an eye on down the line. You know, it'd be real interesting to see like he gets fired from Texas, and then you see on the coaching carousel that he gets hired at at Perry View A&M or something like that. I think that'd be like really quick to hire somebody like that, but you know, we'll see. We'll see with Chris Beard and whatnot and what happens with him. But kind of, same with college basketball, real quick. Just to go over some scores over the weekend. I got alluded to Alabama beat the brakes off Kentucky 78-52. I think a lot of people, after the beating Kentucky and the way they held down Oscar Sheetway and Toppin, to like, I think a combined, let me check real quick. Like a combined 7 points is very telling. And I think, you talking about a potential Final Four team. And the way they just beat them down, D-Log, is just like, damn. Like, they weren't getting shit. Like, the long arms, the athleticism, and the length with this team just kind of, like, really destroyed Kentucky. And Kentucky has no outside shooting. I know I haven't watched a lot of Kentucky basketball. I don't know if you have either, but just watching that game in full, there's like no outside scoring at all with that group. And you talking about a team that's 10-5 right now. You talking about Kentucky. They got South Carolina here on the 10th. That could be a win. But after that, you got to play Tennessee. You got to play Georgia. That's been playing pretty good so far this year. Texas A&M. That's like a game and go either way. Vanderbilt, who always going to play tough under Jerry Stackhouse. And then you got the Big 12 ACC Challenge against Kansas at home. And after that, to round up the month, you got Ole Miss, who took a loss against Mississippi State. I just read out that schedule there, D-Lock. If Kentucky splits that, do we hear the noise about Cal maybe, moving forward or whatnot? Or Kentucky maybe looking at options in your eyes?
You talking about as far as replacing Calipari?
Yeah, because, the schedule I just laid out there, the main challenge is Kansas and Tennessee. Everybody else, pretty winnable games. But the way they've been playing, you never know. If they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If they go 4-3 in that stretch, does the noise get a little bit louder on Kyle Perry about maybe changing the guard there?
Possibly. I don't think so. I think still with it being a long season, there's still a chance for a turnaround. We know what Kentucky can be, and what they what kind of coach Calipari is. Um, it's very different than like I said, college football, to where you only have a certain amount of games. Yeah, you can't lose 2 or 3 games and expect to be in the running for college football playoffs. That's not going to work. But college basketball, you can get you a stretch where you're not in the running and make a move later on throughout the season. So I would say it's slightly early for that next move, but if things don't improve, I wouldn't be surprised. But Calipari has just done such a hell of a job there. I see him in the lights of he literally have to do a lot for him to have like okay, let's get Calipari up out of here in Kentucky, to me. So I just, with coaches, and universities like Kentucky and Calipari, those are more so of okay, let's kind of take it easy and let things play out. We see it many times with uh, universities or different sports peak too early. And man, to be honest with Davis, I thought that he is, like I said, a former athlete. I thought for some reason that only track athletes peaked too early. And I literally thought, like, hey, you can run too fast too early and then your season is done. No, there's literally teams in basketball, or teams in football, hell, golf, baseball, hockey. You can literally play too good, in a sense, too early. You could be in a great rhythm early in the season and just cannot catch that rhythm later on. Like, that happens. So sometimes when we do see some teams that are off, early in the season or later on in the season, maybe they're going to click at the right time. And that's the thing we talk about with the tournament is, we see some teams that as soon as they start getting the rolling, they start to, stack win after win after win. So, but, again, like I said, I think Kentucky will be fine now. We had this conversation in a couple of weeks. It might be a little different if they still struggling.
And you brought a good point about, teams peaking early. Just going through the other scores and stuff like that. Creighton, they lose to 9 against UConn. UConn, one of the better teams in the country, but Creighton is a team that a lot of people like coming out of the Big East, but they just kind of went basically at the Maui tournament. They kind of really I don't say nosedive, but they just kind of stuck up the joint, while I was on Creighton. And then they got played Xavier on the road on the 11th. Providence, who's 14-3 at home on the 14th. Butler, not like Brad Stevens Butler, but Butler, they kind of tough. St. John's, that's like a trick bag right there. You don't know who you get out of them. And then you got Xavier again. Creighton's another team I thought about, like, damn. You brought that up. It's like, they're a team that I was kind of high on coming to the season. Then they just kind of took a nosedive in my eyes. Like, damn, what happened to y'all? But looking at other scores from Saturday, Duke, and we want to talk about Duke. Duke has really kind of just there, if that makes sense. They beat Boston College, but they just there in existence. Nobody really sticks out. Nobody. I know it's old boy's first year, but damn, it seemed like Coach K kind of gift wrapped him a good job, a good situation, and helped him get a nice recruiting class coming in. And they are 12-4, a quiet 12-4 at that. Tennessee beat the brakes out of South Carolina. Iowa State winning 5 in a row, beating TCU. That TCU team that the other day beat Baylor. So Big 12, a lot of good basketball going on right there. Washington State beat Arizona 84-61. Very big, good road win for the Washington State Cougars. And then, let's see, going down. K-State beating Baylor in overtime, 97-95. Good win for them on the road. Auburn beat the crap out of Arkansas 72-59. Charleston, who's ranked 23rd in the country. I don't know, a lot of people didn't know about that. Beat Delaware 75-64. Gonzaga went 5 over St. Clair 81-76. UNLV beat New Mexico 84-77. Today's action, real quick. Northwestern. Yeah, that Northwestern. 12-3 so far. Beat Indiana by 1. Mike Wilson's squad. Another team that's still promising. Kind of like in the same boat with Duke, just real quiet. Just middle road right now. Houston beat Cincinnati 72-59. Purdue, probably top team in the country. My eyes, 76-63 over Penn State. In your eyes, real quick, before we go to the NBA real quick, do you just sense, I don't know if you're the same boat as me, do you just sense that there's only like a good handful of teams that you could bet on winning a championship?
There's no. I look at these teams. I'm liking what I'm seeing as far as a few teams out there. But there's no team that really sticks out to me that makes me just say, "Hey, this is like really the top team." I did like what Houston has going. Kansas, looking like Kansas. The whole Texas thing, clearly you know what that is. But there's no team that I can literally say, hey, okay, well, I can bet that this team is going to be one that is like head and shoulders above everybody else. Purdue clearly is doing what they're doing. I just feel like now it's so early. It's not how it was in the past where we see a team that just they just look like they're almost bona fide to be in the championship game. And maybe because it's so early in the season. So not right now. Like I said, there's a few teams I like. I like some of the teams that have the vets. They have the guys out there that's been there for a couple of years. That, hey, okay, well, you know what? They could make a push at the right time. But again, like I said, we talk about Kentucky being where they are. Like, it's so early. Like they're gonna make a run at some point. UCLA is always a team that'll be in the mix. So Duke would be there as well. So for me, there's not one team that I can say, hey, you know what, this team is a big team to watch out for. That there's like a handful that I can say, okay, you can watch out for that they're gonna make a push, but not one, solidify like, okay, yeah, this is the best team in the nation.
I only got a handful of teams. Purdue, Houston. If Arkansas was more healthy, I'll put them in there. But right now they ain't healthy right now, and they lost a couple players here not too long ago. So I had to put them to the side. Alabama, I'm not trying to sound like a homer, but I put them on the list, barring no injury. UCLA, they had a good strong win against USC last week. But God, that Mick Cronin style, yeah, I don't know. Almost won a championship a couple years ago, but I don't know if it's going to be for the long haul. Then watching that USC game is like, especially late in that second half, Tiger Campbell at times kind of dribbled the ball a little bit too much for my liking. And I felt like at times USC didn't go down low to kind of take advantage of that matchup. Stuff like that. It's kind of like this bad coaching and strategy down the stretch for USC to kind of not beat UCLA. But UCLA, I'm not there yet with them. And then, Texas, we'll see how they finish out the rest of the year. They still got a strong team. UConn's another one. That's really kind of where I'm at right now. Maybe Tennessee, I could throw in there. Arizona took a bad loss to Washington State, so like, yeah, I know losses happen, but it's Washington State though. And then Kansas. I'm not sold on Auburn. Gonzaga. They're okay, but I don't think they're a championship. I don't think they're Final Four team this year. So I just got a handful of teams right now. So seeing I just named off right there. Mizzou is a team to kind of keep eye on. Coach Gase has got those boys rolling. And I ain't think that in the first year of him being hired that job. I said, damn, dog. You doing some work. And Conzo laid the foundation there. You got Kobe Brown as your senior there to kind of help lead the charge. Hey, man, they doing their work right now. So shout out to him right now in the land of Columbia. But D-Law, to quickly transition to the NBA, the Lakers have won 5 straight. Memphis has won 5 straight. Bradley Beal's out again. Devin Booker's out for a while. Chris Paul seems like he's in and out of the lineup as well. Joel Embiid, he's hurt. The Nets, they win again today against the Heat. Laurie Markkanen's dunking on fools. Man, where do we go from here? Donovan Mitchell been going off. But you sent me an article about the Lakers before, like a few hours beforehand, about potentially LeBron pushing his way out. Do you, after reading what you saw, do you foresee that happening? Could you see LeBron doing that in your eyes? I can't see him doing that because I think he likes LA too much. I'm not saying just the Lakers, but I'm just saying LA as a whole. The house, the vibes, you know, his second career in entertainment and stuff like that. Where it's like producing shows, being in acting, all that good stuff. He's out there. But do you see him maybe switching up gears and go somewhere else to maybe win another championship elsewhere to finish out his career? Or like we talked about multiple times with his son, playing somewhere with his son. Do you see that happening?
Well, I mean, reading the article is very interesting, but for one, I find it hard to see LeBron actually force his way out of any franchise. I don't think he's done that anyway. I think he's played out his contract in everywhere he's been. So I think that, and that's at every team franchise. So I definitely damn sure don't see him just forcing his way out of LA, out of the Lakers. But I think that what's going to happen is we'll see them making a push towards more getting better. As you said, they're in a winning streak right now, and they're actually playing hot right now without Anthony Davis. last time we talked about it, one of the biggest things I said that they needed was they needed the other guys to play better. They needed their shooters to come around. Dennis Schroeder has been playing exceptionally pretty well
Yes,
recently.
he has.
Before Austin Reeves came out, he was making a decent impact. Russ is looking like the clear-cut six-man of the year right now. And for those that, I've always been the comparison of FanDuel, but those that do FanDuel and DraftKings, he's playing pretty well for those guys that put him in their lineups. So right now, he's playing well. LeBron is being LeBron. Thomas Bryant looks like a great signing right now. He's filling in with Anthony Davis pretty well as well. So for me, I think that this team is starting to get to rolling. So the thought of him forcing his way out is nowhere near. Also, I think, like I said, him having the career outside of basketball, I think is going to keep him in LA as well. I remember seeing an interview actually today about Magic saying that he was recruiting Kawhi to come to the Lakers. And he said, "Why?" In that interview, he was telling LeBron that he was going to get him to come in. He said, "Yeah, we're going to build a dynasty or build a championship team." And he was saying, "Well, we're going to build a championship team, and you'll be able to work on your career off the court." So that was a selling point that Magic had for LeBron. And in fact, clearly, I think LeBron already had in his mind made up to go to LA, but that helped. Yeah, we're going to win a championship. Also, now I'm in LA where I can work on my career off the court, which we've heard for years, I believe, about Space Jam 2. Space Jam alone was an icon movie. So to have a Space Jam 2, knowing the comparisons that we hear from LeBron and Michael Jordan, and LeBron getting that role, that was big, and that played a big part. Him actually living in Los Angeles, so I don't see him leaving LA. Now I think another movie is coming out soon. I believe House Party that we're doing that, which let me say this on the record. I think they just need to leave House Party alone. The original, go ahead and leave all that stuff alone. I wouldn't touch none of that. That's a hard movie to try to come back with. I think they should leave that alone. But with that being said, they have a House Party movie coming out, and I think right now, from what I've seen in a few trailers, they're supposed to be cleaning up, I believe, LeBron James' house.
Yeah.
And it seems like they lose one of the NBA final rings. So he has a part in there as well. So we're talking about the off the court career. We see that happening, in the acting. And I believe that's his third movie that he's going to be acting in that I can remember that I probably will actually see. So, bottom line, I don't see him trying to force his way out of LA, knowing that his career is already gonna end sooner rather than later. So I think that what's gonna happen is they're gonna try to find a way to get Bronny in LA. I don't think for sure that it happens, but they're gonna try to find a way. Just to solidify him staying in Los Angeles, for those that may think that he'll leave. So I think that LA is where he's going to be. Now, we've heard, I'm pretty sure you've seen, the recent situation with Trae Young, right?
Yeah.
Trae Young having an issue with the coach. There's even whispers about him wanting to get out of Atlanta. He's also signed, I believe, with his agency is Clutch. Is there a possibility that we may see Trae Young in LA? I think that may be possible. Now, you're going to have to give up a lot to do that. But that is a chance that can happen as well. So, but as far as LeBron being the piece that goes with that, I highly doubt it. I honestly think Anthony Davis leaves LA before LeBron does. So I think that doesn't happen. I think they continue to make this push forward right now. Right now they're 19-21, by the game behind and being in that 8th spot. Like they're tied with a couple of teams, but with the Warriors sitting at 20-20 with the 8th spot, the Suns as well. The Lakers are on a hot. They're looking very good right now, man. And right now they're one of the few teams with a 5-game winning streak, and I believe the other team is Memphis. So they're starting to get everything clicking, man. I'm liking what I see now. Who's been stepping up the past couple of games with Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker out has been Kendrick Nunn. He's been playing exceptionally well the past couple of games. We've seen him do something recently. So right now, like I said, that last game against the Kings was a great game. They had the game against the Hawks, the second one, and then clearly the one on his birthday, which Davidson, no lie, I literally told my fiance about the tickets for that game in Atlanta like 2 or 3 weeks before. And I should have bought them then. They were like $100 a seat. And I did not get them. So, and that's the game. LeBron James' birthday in Atlanta. He went crazy. So, but, back to it. The Lakers they're moving up right now. And they're going to be a team to reckon with moving forward. Because I honestly don't see a team. This team starts to get clicking. I don't really see a team that can really just outright beat them easily in a 7-game series. I just don't see it. You got your top teams in the Nuggets, Grizzlies and Mavs, but they're going to be a team to deal with. When Steph Curry comes back, clearly the Warriors will be the Warriors. But I'm liking what the Lakers are showing. If they can hold this up, when Anthony Davis come back, they're really going to be a team, not only in the West, but in the NBA as well.
Real quick for me, I like I said, I don't see LeBron asking out of LA. I think he finished out his contract, and like I said, his son, he graduated this year as a senior. It's kind of wait and see where he goes to play college at, and then I guess we'll see what happens after that. But with Trae Young's issues in Atlanta right now, and them just kind of just there at the moment. Because we didn't kind of expect Indiana to be where they at right now, and they've been playing very well. And you fought one of those teams that would tank for at least like a top 3 draft pick, but that's not looking like the case right now. And could they string a trade for Trae? If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it this year because Russ comes off the books after this offseason. So does Kendrick Nunn, all that type of stuff. So if you're gonna do a trade for Trae Young, you gotta do it now. And I would throw in those damn draft picks for Trae Young if you're gonna make a move like that. But you mentioned about Thomas Bryant, he's been playing hard. Like that dude, the go-getter. Like he's tough. And it's amazing to me that the Lakers had him in their system years ago and let him go. It's just, and that's around the Magic Johnson time too. I do believe. I was like, come on now. That's why I was kind of like on Magic Johnson's ass because he got really young guys. Some of these young guys a little too quickly for what they're worth. And now you kind of see, somewhat the fruits of that labor. Zubac, very solid center for the Clippers. That somebody you could have kept around as your center and let Anthony Davis be that foreman that he so desperately wants to be. If the 5 is the best position for him. But anyways, Thomas Bryant coming back in the fold, playing very well. Probably the way he's been playing, barring no injury for this rest of the year, probably earns have a big payday. And so forth. I can go on and on. But the Lakers, they're doing a good job right now. Like Terry Rodriguez brought up, they're going to tie for that final playing spot. The T-Wolves, I ain't worried about them because Rudy Gobert, God dog, it's just like each passing week, it seemed like that deal was like a bad move in general. And then Carney Towns, he's out and hurt. The Warriors, they kind of, I don't know what's going on with them. They comatose right now. All that stuff. So I think, the way the Lakers playing, I think they can sneak into the playoffs. They may probably be a playing team because the rest of the top of the guys, real tough right now. Only thing I can see is really sliding is Phoenix with all the injuries they have in the backcourt. But the Lakers, I think they'll be fine. Once they get Anthony Davis back healthy, hopefully, I think things will be straight for them. But I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I think, like I said, Anthony Davis comes back. I mean, right now, what I'm looking at, you have a lot of teams in the West with losing streaks, right?
Yeah.
The Clippers, I don't know what the hell going on with them. We have to touch on the next Sunday. It just seems like with them, things are up in there. They're on actually on a 5-game losing streak. Maybe they possibly change that tonight going against the Hawks. The Suns are as well. So you got a lot of teams, right now kind of trending down. And I think the Lakers can actually put themselves in that top 8. Then there'll definitely be a team that can. I honestly think once the Lakers get in that top 8, they don't find a way out of it. So that's just what I think. Knowing what they have cooking up right now, and also you get Anthony Davis back. Because don't forget, Anthony Davis was playing on MVP level before he got hurt. So you bring him in. Hopefully you can continue to get what you're getting out of Thomas Brown or something very similar. Now you really got a team that can do some damage. And I don't think any team wants to see Anthony Davis and LeBron James in the playoffs on the same team. I think that'll be that combination is probably better than any duo that I see on the West right now. So I kind of like the Pelicans duo, but hell, Zion, and we'll talk about that in 7 days as well. I think that team would be decent, but B.I., C.J. McCollum, and Zion, they got to be healthy and stay healthy. But like I said, the Lakers are a team to deal with, and they're starting to get things clicking. And with how these teams are struggling, they're starting to trend up in the right direction.
And we're leaving on that note, and we'll probably get more into NBA discussion next week with all the injuries going on and stuff like that, and what that means for playoff seeding and all that stuff. Because All-Star breaks around the corner, and then you really make a hard stretch not to stay out the playing game or stuff like that. But we'll discuss that next week, along with everything else going on in the world of basketball. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. Doing a lot of tweeting about the Orlando Magic. We do got the Kings tomorrow, so definitely check that out. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
You can follow the show on Twitter at FastBreakIESR. That's FastBreakIESR. Also, do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Also, I do another show to the side called The Crooks Process. You can follow me on Instagram at The Crooks Process. You see the CP logo in the profile. Also, I do a TikTok as well. Look me up at Work88. That's Work88. I did a whole bunch of videos about the Titans. I did one last night about the Titans and all that stuff. So do follow me on there and all that good jazz. But till then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us. Mike Pat is right behind us here on iSports Radio. So do tune in to him. And we'll talk to y'all next week. Peace.